special day.
They could be your father, mother, sister or brother, or maybe spouse. On Saturday, 50 Southwest Florida veterans of World War II were flown to Washington, D.C., compliments of the Collier County chapter of Honor Flight.
We have that bond. It's like the bond that you have with somebody in the foxhole.
It's touching beyond belief.
Referred to as the last mission for these vets, the Honor Flight's mission is to take them to the war memorials in D.C. before the Greatest Generation is gone. When they realized that other Honor Flight chapters had year-long waiting lists, Dr. Debbie Strand and Sean Lux started a chapter in Collier County. This was their second flight, and so far, 100 veterans have been to the memorials that otherwise they would never get to see.
I've been looking forward to it. I've been trying for 3 or 4 years to be allowed to go on a flight.
And for veterans that are in their 90s, that's a little bit too long of a waiting list.
From the minute they arrived at Reagan National, these vets were treated like royalty. Each one I spoke to said it was a day they will never forget.
It was fabulous.
Probably the best day of my life, other than my discharge from the Army.
It was especially meaningful for the Guardians, volunteers who support the trip financially and then escort their vet on this trip of a lifetime, their last mission. Some Guardians are related to a vet, like A.J. Ward, who went with his grandmother.
Since my grandma's my girl, I decided that I would come here, and it's been amazing so far.
This was my second honor flight. The first was last November as a member of the media with Wink News. But I decided to go back again as a Guardian assigned to experience the trip with my new friend, Navy vet Dick Gregory.
I don't really feel myself a professional veteran, but I'm proud to have had the opportunity to serve my country for what little I did. I have to say I would do it again if I had to.
But for this Honor Flight chapter, it's not yet mission accomplished and time is running out. There are 2 more flights planned this year to take another 100 vets on their last mission. One of the things that really stuck to me was at the end of the trip, a veteran stopped a trip organizer, looked at him and thanked him for the trip because he was worried he might not be alive to have seen the day to make that trip.
Yeah. And they have such a camaraderie amongst themselves. I mean, only each other know what they've gone through, right?
And they sat with each other on the trip and the buses on the planes to make sure they bonded the entire length of the trip.
Wow.
So very emotional for you too, I know.
I was crying today just rewatching the video again.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
On the flight.
Honey, if you're in the Army, actually I had 5 boys. As my husband, so I'm used to being surrounded.
Ruth Allen was surrounded by men Saturday, but that's nothing new for her. She was an Army nurse during World War II, caring for the wounded when they returned stateside. As a surviving member of the Greatest Generation, Allen was one of a handful of women in Washington, D.C. Saturday with Collier County's second honor flight.
Every place we went was perfect.
And everywhere they went, people stopped to thank them for their service.
It proves to me that I've done my job and that people are happy for what I've done. Even though it's been many years ago, they still don't forget us. They remember us. No matter what we've done, we're still there.
Bertha Diggs was a Navy mailman for the last 3 years of the war.
I was taking care of the letters for the guys, all the packages, anything that came through the post office got sent out to the boys. I've enjoyed the service. I was planning on going back again. I said, no, it's time to move on. Get married, have children.
Her grandson was her guardian on the trip. The Guardians are volunteers who support the trip financially and then escort their vet on this trip of a lifetime, their last mission.
I feel very thankful because, I mean, if it wasn't for them, we'd probably be speaking a different language.
Army nurse Allen was with family too. Around her neck were her dog tags and her late husband's dog tags too.
He was in the Navy. I outranked him.
Did you tell him that all the time?
Didn't make any impression, but I tried.
This was my second honor flight. I was on the Collier chapter's first mission last year as a reporter covering the trip for Wink News. But when you spend time with the Greatest Generation, you can't help but be changed. So I started volunteering and boarded this flight as a guardian for my new friend, Navy vet Dick Gregory. It seemed to fit that he had the youngest guardian on the trip, who also happened to be a woman, because women in his family were no strangers to military service.
My mother's buried up there in Arlington, and this is all part of family. My family's been involved in taking care of this country ever since the Revolutionary War.
But for this honor flight chapter, it's not yet mission accomplished and time is running out. There are 2 more flights planned this year to take another 100 vets on their last mission. Right now, only 3 on those trips are women.
Wow, what a great story.
Thank
and
you.
what great people.
Sweet people, nice people, looking just to have a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun this weekend.
That's good.
Good.
That's great.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Rachel.
I felt I'd like to memorize each one of these memorials because I won't be here the next time around. I'm 90 years old now. I'm in my declining years.
The man behind the bugle is Army Air Corps vet Bob McDonald.
Yeah, I was stateside, but they didn't have any use for a bugle overseas.
He brought his bugle with him on the honor flight and stopped and played at each memorial site. He stopped playing long enough to meet former Senator Bob Dole.
He's a true American hero.
Mr. Dole, another member of the Greatest Generation, earned a Purple Heart and Bronze Star in the war. He was nearly killed by enemy shrapnel and lives with his lifelong injuries. He is McDonald's hero, but it was Dole who comes out to pay respects to each honor flight. You see, they are his heroes. McDonald's music is a reminder to all of the sacrifices made by the men and women on this, their final mission.
Oh, they enjoy it.
Rachel Spangenthal, Wink News.
Well, for this